Just finished watching Dexter Resurrection episode 7. And oh my goodness, let's just get this out of the way now. That last 5 to 10 minutes, I have never been on the edge of my seat in a Dexter episode in years. I mean, years. And spoiler alert, just for general principle, to have Batista and Dexter in that car and Dexter's mask fully dissolve in front of Batista, Hermano, Mr. La Pasión, and for them to be, I don't want to say the word vulnerable, but truly real with each other was something that we've waited for as fans for a decade plus. Like, I cannot believe that that is happening, not even in like the season finale. It's happening right in the middle of the season. And Dexter giving his Heisenberg-esque, if you really don't know who I am, to Hank, you should tread lightly, sort of speech to Batista was a little chilling. And I haven't really been scared of Dexter in years, but that was a moment I felt like, oh, Batista, you need to back the F up. Like, really. And I'm not mad at Batista for doing what he was going to do. To me, it's a little jarring. You know, I think Angel's been a good cop, a good detective, a good sergeant than the original run, but this really does feel almost like a whole new character, which is good because it's been 10 years. So of course his character would evolve from the previous show. You know, there was a time we used to watch Angel and Quinn smoke weed in a car and like be almost oblivious to what Dexter was doing. But it just shows that when he gets a good case, and especially a case as personal as this, that he is on par with Dokes and Deb when it comes to their investigating abilities, like truly. And it was just chilling just to watch that happen. And even before then, you know, Angel showing up to Dexter's house, ingratiating himself with Bless and his family. And then Dexter showing up later, you know, both of them just sort of doing this dance with each other. You know, the surprise Hermano really was a fun exchange. I just wanted to start there briefly. Just, you know, I'm processing it in real time. I wanted to get my raw, honest thoughts on this right now before I did anything, because I am just very, very, very impressed with this show, just like the rest of the world is, I'm sure. But I just can't believe that this is where it's doing. It's good. Like, I liked New Blood-esque and I really enjoyed Original Sin, but like, I think it hasn't been since season 5 and good parts of season 7 of Dexter that I was just like really, really enjoying it. That's why I just want to say this real quick. Like, that ending really is sealed the deal for this episode. Because I think this episode, before this last 10 minutes, was skirting the line between Dexter just doing into like fantasy world Dexter, if you know what I mean, where in the original show, like Dexter would almost get caught, but then fate would just sort of align everything to where he didn't get caught. Like, for example, season 5 in the finale, when Deb confronts, well, she doesn't know it at the time, Lumen and Dexter, you know, killing Adrian Chase behind this sheet of plastic. And it's like, you just want to say, Deb, just walk through it. But doesn't. Or in season 3, when he's, you know, he finally stumbles across the Skinner and then kills him quickly. And then right as the cops are storming in, it's just, things just sort of just magically happen. Like, you know, Lila killing Doak sort of aligns with the story, but also Dexter getting away scot-free. So I say that to say, when Dexter's at the mansion and, you know, kills the other Gemini twin before revealing himself, or revealing that he killed Gemini's twin brother, and then murders Gemini in view of everybody. I liked it, but then as I am watching it, I'm like, wait a minute, Dexter's being this bold? I mean, the whole scene is preceded by Dexter and Prater having an honest conversation where Prater reveals a bit of his backstory because he appreciates Dexter for revealing, or who he thinks is Red, which I still have my theories on that, you know, an honest part of himself amongst the group. And for me, it's like, okay, if Prater truly believes this is Red, and Red is the first serial killer to really talk about the idea that he wears a mask, and that sort of triggers Prater's sort of like, you know, not so much trust, but like, I think it's time to reveal a bit more of my backstory to Red. I don't know if I buy that no other serial killer that Prater's been interacting with has ever said that phrase, like, yeah, I pretend to be this, but I'm actually that. It's good to be amongst people who know what we all go through. It's very textbook, you know, AA group, which, again, I'm willing to suspend my disbelief on that. But bringing it back to the idea that Dexter can kill Gemini and in broad daylight in front of the other killers and in front of everybody else, and no one be like, and not get in trouble for it. You know, I get it, they're all serial killers, but it's interesting how Prater just sort of like rationalizes it with Dexter, as Dexter just says, oh yeah, you know, he was talking about how he was going to take care of Lowell and everybody else, make this his final whatever, final tribute or something like that. And Prater goes, yeah, that makes sense. But Charlie's like, that's not his MO. Something's up here. And this is where kind of my suspension of disbelief gets a little wonky, because Prater is a billionaire. I mentioned this before, you know, it's mentioned before, I said this in my last video, that Prater's a billionaire and has all the access to all the resources. He doesn't know who Red is, but Dexter was able to find out. I guess him not knowing that Gemini kills and is twins is interesting, but wouldn't Gemini have a birth certificate showing that they were born as twins? You know, it's a lot of little things that are kind of like, well, if he has all the access to all the resources, he would know that. If he was able to find who Gemini is as a serial killer, would he not know they were twins, I guess? Which goes back to my theory that Prater knows Red is the Bay Harbor Butcher or something like that. He's like it. The more Prater's just sort of like, well, I guess Gemini's dead. Like, all my killers are going missing and being murdered, or missing or murdered. Mia, well, he has something to do with that. But the idea that he was able to gather these group of serial killers that always visit and hasn't had an issue visiting New York and doing this sort of retreat for years until Red shows up. And I get Prater's, you know, a very, very, he's almost like I wouldn't say he's not a serial killer that we know of. But the fact that he has his own trophies of people's trophies is alarming. And I wouldn't doubt that he's tried to kill before, but just couldn't go through with it. But that's just I really think, I mean, if he doesn't know that Red is Dexter, the Bay Harbor Butcher, then fine. But I just have a hard time believing that Prater, with all his resources, doesn't know what Dexter Morgan looks like, hasn't like put two and two together that Dexter Morgan is the Bay Harbor Butcher, that two previous detectives from Miami Metro believe that, where Maria LaGuerta did it officially, you know, and, well, actually three. Maria LaGuerta, Dokes, who figured it out off the books, and Chief from Dexter New Blood, I can't remember her name, Angela Bishop, sort of figured it out in the middle of Iron Lake with just a little know-how. So like, all those files are available for him. If he has access to the FBI files, he would know that Dokes died at Jimenez's cabin, the same people that had something to do with Dexter Morgan's murder. I mean, not Dexter Morgan's murder. His Dexter and his and his brother's mom's murder. I can't think of it. Who was a CI for Harry? Like even Deborah Morgan figured this out just by investigating. And I just like I can't buy that once Angel declared Dexter alive, and Dexter Morgan was able to then go get an ID. I don't know. And then the whole Trinity connection, like, oh, Rita Morgan was the final Trinity victim where only a few people knew that Trinity killed in fours. And Prater knows that, and he has the hammer, which, again, it's a good show. It's just when you're thinking about characters who you believe are smart, shouldn't be fooled. But unless he's playing it up for the audience sake, of course, I am just waiting for the reveal that Prater knows Dexter is the Bay Harbor Butcher. And he's just going along. Maybe, what if he didn't know it the moment before Red visited the mansion? But I gotta think Prater has all the security in the world to be like, this has gotta be, like he walks into his mansion, he takes pictures of everybody, he knows what they look like. I'm sure he's got some sort of security to run like facial recognition or something. I don't know. But if he doesn't, and I believe he'll find out soon because of the glass that was left behind that I believe is from Dexter's blood because Charlie stitches him up. I'm willing to bet that Charlie is going to take that DNA and register and put it in a database and see that, oh, this person pops up as Dexter Morgan. And then the pieces fall into place. But again, this is a good show. Harrison's storyline, I like him going to college. I really appreciated Dexter eventually showing up to support his son, looking to go to school to become a cop. Harrison's interactions with the sophomore student was nice. It's good to see that Harrison's got a little riz. He's got it. He's doing okay, Trying to think what else. Oh, Claudette, sort of teaching. That I was okay with. It was a little jarring just thinking about it now that she was the one teaching the course on the Ripper. And I like that scene because of what it pays off of, like Dexter sort of diving into his blood spatter days, showcasing that, oh yeah, it wasn't like a crowbar, it could have been something else with a point, just to, illustrate that to Claudette, that he's also smart too. And him laying the seeds for Batista being crazy and obsessed. But I don't think Claudette's going to buy that because they've already pulled that trick with Dokes before and Maria LaGuardia. I don't think this show is going to go backwards and say that another detective is obsessed with Dexter being the Bay Harbor Butcher. Like that's the third detective in this television universe. And I know certain stuff comes in threes, but like I don't think I can accept that again, that Angel's made to that Angel is this crazed out lunatic who's like, I'm obsessed. I had Dexter's this, he's the Bay Harbor Butcher. You got to believe me. I don't think they're going to go that route. I think Claudette's going to think about it, take all the evidence and process it in her head. But I don't think she's going to fall for it because she believes in facts. Yes. But there are so many red flags with Harrison and Dexter. Like Harrison was abandoned by his father who faked his death. And then in Iron Lake is there for a few weeks and then is shot and then is now in New York City right after a murder happens, where now this detective from Miami who they've never met is now coming up and saying, hey, these Harrison and Dexter, like something's up there, like connected to murder. Judging by Claudette's character, I don't think they're going to let that go. But anyway, this is just my quick thoughts on it. There's just so much about this show I like. I like the acting, just the meta Michael C. Hall performance of him getting into character in the mirror at the mansion. Just, it's like he was auditioning, like, okay, play crazed like this way, play disconnected this way, just trying to hype himself up. Him giving his speech to the other killers, us seeing the home video kill from Mr. Modern Family was disturbing in a good way. I am very surprised at the pace of the show is going. I feel like the creators learned their lessons from the previous iterations of Dexter, and they're like, look, this is what the fans want, and this is what storytelling has evolved to be. We got to be faster. We've got to like not waste audience's time, because they know Dexter and his MO. They get it. They understand. But we can't keep playing the same hits of like, oh, people almost find out. Oh boy. They're like, no, everybody pretty much knows or is getting close to it. And let's just see how all this plays out. Will we get the reveal of who the New York Ripper is? That would be interesting. That'd be an interesting way to go. Will Dexter or Harrison kill them? Maybe. I think we are due maybe for one more Harrison-Dexter collab kill. Maybe they will include Batista in a way. But Dexter was able to convince Deb to sort of help him out in some way. But even then, that kind of broke her to be that complicit. Well, speaking of breaking, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. Harry and Dexter's conversations this episode was really, really great. The idea that Dexter's confronting his subconscious again about Harry killing him, or the idea that Harry chose to end his life when he found out what Dexter, he knew what Dexter was doing, but to see the body parts and pieces and all that really broke him. And Dexter sort of always has to rationalize that. And then I love the physical acting between Dexter and Harry, Michael C. Hall and James Remar, this season, because it's really showing how Dexter's interacting with his inner psyche, with Harry. And it's definitely more physical than it's ever been. And I really enjoy that. I really am. I'm just excited to see where this series goes. I think it's 10 episodes. I haven't really looked ahead to see how many. I'm just going week by week until I'll know once on the last episode I watch, it goes next week on the season finale or the finale. I'll be right there. But it's really good. Like, I'm very impressed. My takeaways this episode are, Angel is very competent police officer. I'm curious how he's going to play it. I love how Dexter's sort of really out of touch with technology, that he'll never notice the AirPod case in his car. But I'm also curious to see what Dexter does in regards to that investigation, but also waiting for the other shoe to drop, because inevitably the people around Dexter end up dead or hurt. Blessing and his family, I wonder how much they're going to be on the crosshairs of, Dexter's orbit, his very destructive lifestyle. I don't think they're going to do a fake out death again. That just doesn't work. We need to see Dexter's head get cut off to really kill the character, but I don't know. It's just so much happening and it's so good. And I'm very happy. But that's all I got to say about it. I can't wait to go next week. With my schedule is, I catch the episode when I can. I definitely try to, but I literally ended it and I was like, look, let me go ahead and get this recorded off. You're watching me work through the show in real time, the thoughts of it in real time. Everyone's just operating at the top of their game. I feel like there are no wasted characters really. And they're all in close proximity, which I enjoy. I'm more curious to really get that reveal if Prater knows or not, but I think he must know, because I can't imagine anyone, whether you're in the serial killers or not, would be that cool with another serial killer murdering another serial killer on your property. Like, has that never happened before at any point in the years he's been doing this? I thought his backstory was really interesting. It shows that he was also born in blood as well. Because in this universe, if you're born in blood, you sort of can morph into something else. And Prater may not be a killer, but he is complicit in housing these other serial killers, knowing that they kill. He's definitely definitely would go to jail for this. But that is his dark passion. That is how he feeds his need to kill, by watching others do it. He's a true voyeur with money and power. Charlie's an interesting character. I wonder if we'll get a little more from her. We already know she has a sick mom, but not too much after that. But yeah, I'm excited to see Dexter Resurrection, episode 8. Let's go. I think 2 more to go, maybe.